Burritos are tearing the right apart. A vicious debate over the cost of a burrito and whether it's too high has engulfed conservative Twitter. It started when Turning Point's Andrew Kolvet responded to a tweet about the rising cost of groceries with something told to him by a student. A burrito shouldn't cost $20. It just feels like basic things cost too much, Andrew wrote. But others disagreed, pointing out that a burrito really only costs $20 if you DoorDash it to your home. Walk into Taco Bell, and it's still $3. Others pointed out that it's cheap to make burritos at home. The pundit Mark Thiessen pointed out that burritos in the college cafeteria are included in the meal plan, to which the vice president replied, "I'm surprised to hear Mark say this. If you've ever met him in person, it's quite obvious the man has never missed a burrito." Apparently, the vice president doesn't have more important things to do than fat shame a pundit, one defending the president's economy, no less. The Burrito War is also a proxy war for a much bigger discussion about the future of the Republican Party and how to handle the economic anxieties of young people. On one side, you have people like Vance, who believe it's the government's job to ensure that young people can fulfill their dreams. On the other side, you have traditional conservatives who think the government should be as far away from the dreams of young people as possible, because human flourishing happens where freedom reigns. Among other things, you can expect this to be one of the main fault lines running through the 2028 GOP primary. Here to discuss, a warrior of the Burrito Wars, the colonel of queso himself, the sergeant of salsa, the general of guacamole, the man who started it all, Turning Point USA spokesman, Andrew Kolvet. Thank you so much for being here.
Wow. That is going to go down in the record books as the coolest introduction, I think. Yeah, I had no idea what I was unleashing upon the social media spheres. But it's just one of those things. A $20 burrito, I think it's just something a lot of people eat burritos. Students eat burritos. Students basically live off burritos. And it was just it became an avatar for this larger conversation. You're right. I had no intention of making it something about Iran. I had no intention of making it some discussion about common good, capitalism versus, pure free markets capitalism. I think the key point that I want to make sure that I get communicated here is the fact that I think it is political malfeasance to ignore and to deny the actual anxieties of voters, especially young voters. Obviously, I work with Turning Point USA. Charlie talked about this all the time. All right, yeah, people like Dan Crenshaw saying, "Stop whining and get a job." This particular individual, for what it's worth, is a good Christian, a patriot, is a conservative guy, goes to church all the time, has a job, and it's still expensive. And listen, it was always expensive in college for me, but everybody's saying go cook. I don't remember college kids cooking a lot when I was in college.
By the way, today, with the inflation like it is, it's actually cheaper to eat fast food than it is to cook, which is it's terrible. It is a disaster for health outcomes.
Unless you have really good meal planning, I'm sure there's a way to make things stretch, and there's a lot of great suggestions out there. But at the end of the day, I do not want the conservative movement repeating the mistakes of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, which was 30% inflation over their term, and they're out there at the press podium saying everything's fine. Everything is perfectly fine. There's nothing to see here. You guys are all a bunch of complainers, and we can't do that. And what I do not make the point is that the answer is socialism, is price controls, is rent freezes, none of that stuff. What you have to do is you have to unleash the power of the economy, the American economy, which is the greatest in the world. You have to reduce regulations. I think a lot of the reforms, the big beautiful bill that President Trump got passed, these are huge boons to the economy, and we have to see if those will bear enough fruit fast enough to convince young people that this way that we do things is the right way. The other thing I would say, though, is that these pure market capitalists, listen, you have my heart. I'm so sympathetic, but we already have limitations on on capital, right? We at the ballot box in 2024, we rejected what big business wants, which is unfettered mass migration and cheap labor. We said, no, we want to put American workers first. We want you to hire American. And by the way, if you're going to take that car manufacturing plant out of Michigan and move it to Mexico, we're going to tariff you when you come back if you try and sell those cars back here. Why? Because we believe in employing American workers. So I think in some ways, we're all talking past each other with this debate, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. We want the free market to go and to be robust and strong. We have our capital markets are the envy of the world. They should stay that way. But we also have to ask the question, what's in the best interest of the nation, of the people? And that's okay too. It's okay to incentivize capital to move in directions that we deem as we the people to be in our interest. And I think hopefully we come to a good meeting point soon.
I think it's so true. I mean, my reaction to this debate was both sides have a piece of the puzzle. Young people feel despondent. They feel like capitalism's not working for them. The free market people are right that sometimes young people's expectations are a little bit too high for the right now. But I think what's missing is, you know, when I was in college, we were willing to, you know, be really scrappy about it because we had this belief that one day we were going to become homeowners, one day we were going to be bought into the American dream. And I think young people don't have that anymore. And so they spend now because what is there worth saving for, if that makes sense?
Well, this is such a good point, and I'm so glad you brought it up. If you think about the average college student, maybe their family lost their home in the financial recession of 2008, 2009. They lived through COVID. They maybe lost a prom. They weren't able to play sports. They were trapped inside. Then they get 4 years of Biden-era inflation at almost 30%. They have had a more difficult route to get into that first rung of the American dream than most. Now you got AI coming after their jobs, those entry-level jobs. So I think you need to be honest about the fact and say, yes, the one thing can be true, and so can the other thing. That yeah, you gotta tighten your belt. You gotta be thrifty.
We have to leave it there, Andrew. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Come back very soon.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.